welcome everybody. My name is Beatrice Moccia, and I am one of the ECIS Early Childhood Committee members. I work as assistant principal at the Leipzig International Kindergarten, which is part of the Leipzig International School. However, I am currently on leave because in about 6 weeks, I will undertake a new career as a mom. So wish me luck with that. And I already apologize for the pregnancy brain if I confuse words or I just lose it. It is really a pleasure to see so many of you here tonight, well, today. And I really thank you for taking the time of joining this webinar and being part of this learning experience. I just want to give you a second to settle so that your brains can be even more receptive to the learning and you can start creating your safe environment ready to learn more together. So I'm just going to introduce very quickly who ECIS is. ECIS exists as a professional life force for members. It's a vibrant network of thoughtful doers and change makers. Our membership represents 500 membership communities and over 40,000 passionate educators and leaders. And this is in over 80 countries and 6 continents. So this is who ECIS is and what the ECIS Early Childhood Special Interest Group is. It's actually a bunch of fools. We're a bunch of passionate people for early childhood education who gather together once a month, or at least we try. And we try to develop webinars or share any information that can be important or relevant for the educators around the world. Tonight with us, we have Karen, Lindsay, and John, who are part of the committee. If you guys want to take a second to present yourselves.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm the chair of the committee. Lovely to see some familiar faces from last time. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm currently joining you from Luxembourg, International School of Luxembourg, and I'm an early years teacher there and a grade level leader. So nice to see you all tonight.
Hi there, I'm John. I'm a K2 team leader from the American School in London.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here also, the 3 of you, supporting me and helping me out, especially later in the breakout rooms. So now that we know each other a little bit more, we're gonna start kicking off with this webinar. However, I would like, first of all, to thank a colleague, which is Nancy Squacciarini, I think it's her surname, for letting me borrow this slide from her. I was in one of her webinars and I found it very, very impactful. So I asked her if I could steal it, and here it is. Before we start, something that I want to make sure is that you guys are all aware that the goal of these webinars is to connect with educators or leaders or people all around the world from different countries with different experiences and different practices so that we can all learn one from another. So this is a safe space for all of us to share our ideas, our practices, our suggestions, to have some discussions about what do we do, what we don't do, and but especially to respect each other and being active listeners. This is, I feel like it's something we say to children and sometimes we forget ourselves to do. So welcome to this safe space. Welcome to this learning opportunity. And today what we're going to use to communicate and connect with each other, it's going to be the chat. So if you already want to start writing about who you are, where do you come from, where you are, please write it in the chat. And at the same time, if you have something that you want to share that maybe you don't want to interrupt, you can also write it in the chat. If there is something you want to raise your voice and speak up, then raise the virtual hand. And then later on, we're going to also break out into rooms. And we are going to use the Padlet to share all our ideas. Padlet is a collaborative workspace. You guys are going to keep the link afterwards, and then you can review all the information that your colleagues or everyone that is in this team has written on. Okay, so here for the Padlet, I leave you in the chat. Abby's going to put the link to the Padlet. And here is a QR code in case you want to use another device. Now, so we're gonna start breaking the ice. And before we do this activity, I am gonna be the very first one creating a safe space and sharing something personal about myself and my relationship to books. I am a terrible adult reader. I can have a book next to my bed or next to the couch, following me all around my apartment, and I would not never be able to finish it. Like, honestly, it can take me months before I finish a book. However, if you take me to a library, I would go into the children's area section and I would spend hours reading all their stories and trying to figure out which one is my new favorite one. So this is a secret about me. Now, what I would like you to do to start warming up a little bit is to jump into the Padlet, and you will see that the very first question is connect, and it says top children's book. So in the comments, you can start writing which one is your favorite children's book. You can go into now. If something doesn't work, please write it in the chat. You know, we've been practicing and making sure that everything works, but technology usually fails when it shouldn't. So in this section on the Padlet, write down the title of your favorite children's book, please. Oh, I see here some answers. Perfect. Beautiful. Oh, I love the rainbow fish. There is already many stories that I don't know, so I'm looking forward to search for those books. Piranhas Don't Eat Bananas. I love that title. Oh, Superworm. I love Superworm. Okay, so here is the very first virtual library for you guys to, as I will do, start searching for those books that our colleagues are now sharing in the Padlet. And yeah, put them in your class library if you find them interesting. So this was our very first connection. Thank you very much for sharing. Now, what we are going to do, we're going to keep into the next activity. And what we're going to talk about is the benefits of stimulating early years from young ages. But before we start again with this activity in the Padlet, I would like to give you 1 minute to think about the magic number. From when does actually early reading starts? So think about that number, put it in the chat, but don't send it, just put it in the chat. And at my count of 3, we're all gonna send it, okay? So You got, wait a second, don't send it. We already have some people really excited. So at my count of 3, we'll send it. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, I love those numbers. Yes, yes, I really like Diane. Thank you very much supporting me in that. I totally agree. So another secret, thank you very much for sharing this in the chat. Another secret is I'm actually reading stories already to the baby that it's in me. So yeah, please read stories to the children from very young ages, from the beginning, from the very beginning. It's just going to be a great benefit. The same way that they say that listening to music during pregnancy, it's really good for the fetus, for the baby. Do the same with books. Children can hear already, they can absorb the vocabulary. So why not take the opportunity? And if you're working with babies with 0 months old, 6 months old, 1-year-olds, please read them stories as much as you want. Okay? So now you can go back into the Padlet and you will see how the second question, it's what are the benefits of stimulating early reading from young ages? And so in here, what I would like you to do is actually to write, what do you think that those benefits are? So I'll give you 2 minutes, off you go. Emotional intelligence, yes. Improving vocabulary and self-expression. Vocabulary foundation, yes, we'll see more about that later. Empathy, 100%. Language development, yes. Something I was actually wondering is, should I write this in the same language to my child? Should I read, sorry, in the same language? Because I have like Italian books and Spanish books and English books, and I'm like, this child must be very confused about which language she will speak. Phonemic awareness, yes, 100%. Positive relationship with literacy from the beginning. Imagination, thank you so much. I love that word. The joy of language, yeah. I think that we have somebody on the presentation that is actually managing to make some scribbles on the presentation. I don't know if you can see them. Okay, so thank you very much for all those, for sharing all those insights in the Padlet. We are going to move back to the presentation now. So yeah, now we have everyone here. What we're going to do next, sorry, my presentation actually froze. Here, can you actually see those scribbles? Yeah, I think there is somebody, Monica, maybe, that it's in it. I don't know if this person is here. Okay, well, we'll try our best with the scribbles. We work with children, we're used to it. So what we're going to talk about now, the next 3 slides, I'm going to be talking to you, and then we'll break out into rooms and have some connecting time and working time together. So to begin with, what we're going to explore is the essential aspects of the Emergent Readers Toolkit. And the very first one is the concepts of print. Now, what do we mean by the concepts of print? The concept of print means the general awareness of how print works, and so the simple rules that print follows. These are very essential for emerging readers, and we have to put our focus on these concepts so that they become embedded in the children. What we also have to be aware of is that concepts of print are made of 4 components. The very first one, it's concepts of print itself, meaning that the children are aware that print holds a meaning, the representation of the letters can be represented, that they can differentiate between numbers, symbols, and numerals and everything. Then the next component is the concept of books, so that they know where is the beginning of the book and where is the end, that a book has a title, how to hold the book, how to turn pages, and so on. The directionality of the words or the sentences, depending on which language they're learning to read, and the mechanics. So for example, the spaces between words or the punctuation, and so on and so forth. The next tool that we need is decoding. Now, this means the phonological and phonemic awareness. I'm not going to talk much about this because we had our colleague Charlotte Renz, who actually gave the very first webinar this year about this. We'll put in the chat later the link from her webinar in case some of you couldn't join then and want to watch it. It was recorded. And so if you want to learn more about decoding, you will find it there. However, something very important that I want you guys to know, as a leader myself and as an educator, I know that teaching phonics, it's actually can be a big struggle for a teacher, especially for somebody that is not maybe a native English speaker. So please ask for support to your leaders. Go and observe a colleague, find resources, learn from internet, whatever. It is okay not to be perfect or not to be completely sure about teaching something, okay? So feel confident to go and ask for help, especially in this area, because it's one of the essential components for developing reading. The next one, also very important for me, it's the vocabulary. We know that children are sponges, and we want to make sure that their life is full of stimulus so that they can absorb and they can learn. It's crazy how fast they learn. And something that I find very, very important, it's playing with words in order to build new vocabulary for the children. So for example, when you read a story numerous times, we have the very hungry caterpillar and we read it 100,000 times. Change some of those words because the children already know the story. They know all the words. So play with those words, change them, maybe find a synonym instead, and make them aware of that change in case they didn't realize themselves. So for example, when you use a synonym when reading a story, tell them to the children, what is the difference? Maybe make them inquire about it. What is the difference between this word and this word? Why do they mean the same? When can we use them? And so on and so forth. So you're growing their vocabulary bank. There is actually another method that it can be used for expanding conversations with children by introducing more descriptive language. And this method, it's called the peer method, which stands for prompt the child to say something about the book, evaluate the child's response, expand the child's response, and obviously repeat the prompt to check if there was understanding. Something very important as well to know, especially if there is any primary teacher here in the team or pre-primary, is that those children that had no experience or very little experience in early years, they will have a significantly lower bank of vocabulary. So it is more likely that they will need more help scaffolding and building that vocabulary bank. So please be more patient with those with those children. Now, once these three components are set in stone, two more will come. One is the fluency and phrasing, and the next one is the comprehension. Now, the fluency that means that a child can read a sentence smoothly or a book smoothly and with expressions and with comprehension. Now, the comprehension is the ability to process the information that we read and get meaning from it. Now, there is 3 levels of comprehension. And out of those 3 levels, the very first one, which younger children have, is the literal meaning, meaning that what they hear is exactly what they understand. The inferential meaning, which is the information that a child can take and then predict what happens next or predict an answer or draw a conclusion. And the response, which is what the child can give a response to an information and further have his or her own idea and opinion about it. But again, as you can see, the top ones are in orange, and it's because they are the main components. Now, let's carry on. Something very important is that we differentiate when the art of reading starts, and we differentiate between developing and emerging. So developing are the roots, and here in the roots we can see that a child is a developing reader when he or she is learning the basics of reading, like the alphabet knowledge, print awareness, book exposure, oral language vocabulary, and so on. They are transitioning to longer books, and they're starting to feel more confident about the reading process. But being confident is one of the most important components of this phase. The emergent reader, instead, it's the one that actually recognizes and point out high frequency words, that is starting to draft some scribbles or write some letters and has a higher desire to listen to longer stories or to read those stories with you. Now, here on the top of the tree, you can see the fluency, comprehension, more vocabulary, and a better phonemic awareness. This is not something that will stop developing. It will keep developing throughout life, the phonemic awareness. So as you can see, it's both in the roots as well as on the branches. So last slide while I speak. What we can help the children with is giving them some reading strategies. And so there is 6 strategies that I'm sure you'll put it already in place and you already know. Just in case, let's review them or see if we actually put them in place and how. The very first one is celebrate interests and identities. The very first person that a child connects with, it's him or herself. We know this, like they are the center of their universe. And we know this because when we're sitting at circle time, as soon as we say something that clicks on their brain and they're like, I got that in my house, I got that in my room, my brother, my sister, my family, it's all me, 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 me. And so take this opportunity, connect all the learning opportunities that you're offering in the classroom to their personality, to their interests, to their likes, to their ideas, and keep these as the center of anything that you do, especially when you're reading a story. Stories are so flexible and so dynamic that you can actually connect them to the children's life, or you can have them themselves connecting it to their own life. Learning does have a higher impact on the child if it's related to something that appeals to them personally. So this is the very first component strategy. The next one, schedule. We are schedule masters. We're educators, so organization comes first. And working with most small children, we know how important routines are in order to create a safe environment. So all the routines that you put in place in your classroom, use them as well for reading. You make a routine out of reading. Create a special moment where you as a group are going to read a story every day. Make it a habit for them. But also, most especially and most importantly, this moment has to be enjoyable and it has to be comfortable for the children. The next one, read aloud as a group. I'm going to share with you in the chat later a video about reading aloud. This is a method that I've worked with and I really like. It's called talk for writing. And if you don't know about it, I really encourage you to go and search for it and learn a little bit more, because there is really great practices for developing an emerging reader. Reading aloud, it's very important, but not only reading aloud to the children, but get involved, make a scene, change voices, get prompts, like make the whole moment, reading moment with the children, a magical moment so that they can be more engaged into it. Because the more unforgettable the experience is, the more they're intrigued and they want to find out more. Next, which is very linked to what I just said, and it's also, I recommend you again to look at this talk for writing because they have great practices linked to this strategy, is same book, different ways. Read that book in 1,000 different ways, change the names of the character, change the location, change the, I don't know, the animals, whatever. Play with it, play with the story, give plenty of opportunities to the children to learn while playing. Give them the opportunity to be imaginative, word that I saw before in the Padlet and I love, and creative. Don't help them to lose this opportunity. Empower them to always keep being more creative and more imaginative. The next one is use other resources, including technology. So also for you guys to know, technology is very helpful for children that have dyslexia or some reading difficulties. It really helps them to develop a better reading strategy. So keep this in mind. And something, for example, just something that I've used and I've worked really well with is B-bots, using the B-bots. They're coding bees. I don't know if you know them. If not, go and search them. They're very cute to see as well. And children love them to tell stories. B-bots can support a storytelling. Children can code it. They can make the path for the character to get over the bridge and to the castle and through the forest and so on and so forth. And last but not least, actually the most important, be a role model for those children. Show them pictures of you when you were a child reading a story. Talk to them about your favorite child story or the stories that you read maybe to your children at home if you have family. Show them the same way that it's important for them to share their life. Share yours with them. And something that we must keep in mind as well, before I finish speaking and drink some water, is that we don't need to keep these strategies within the four walls of our classroom. We must pass on this information to the parents as well. The better, the stronger our relationship with the parents is, the more results and the more impact we have on the children's learning. So please share with the parents what you're doing and ask them to do it at home too. And perhaps you will see that you will have more, a better impact in your classroom. So now, what we're going to do is that I'm going to shut up and it's going to be your time to converse in the breakout rooms. Before we break out into rooms, I just want you guys to know, I would like to ask Abby how many people we have so we can see how many groups we can make.
We've got 22, including everybody.
Okay, so we can have just 4 groups. So sorry, 3 breakout rooms, and then we can share the people amongst those 3. Is that okay, Abby?
3 total rooms.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is that in those 3 rooms, sorry, Abby, I correct myself. Can we make 4?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna have 4 breakout rooms, and each room is gonna work on 1 question. Those questions are on the Padlet, and so depending on which room number you are in, so go and find it in the Padlet, which one is the question that is assigned to your group, to your room, and just work on that question within your team. Something that I must say, it is very nice when we share together. So once we come back from the rooms, I'd like to hear your voices. I'd like to hear what has been discussed in the rooms. And one of the things that, you know, in every team, there is a different personality, a different character. So not everybody feels comfortable speaking in front of a big group. So share maybe responsibilities amongst your group, where one takes notes in the Padlet, another one is making sure that you're staying on track with the question, another one is going to be the one sharing the answer later in the general group, and so on. Okay, so those are your homework while being away from this big room. I think that we're ready to break out. Welcome back, everyone. It felt like those 10 minutes flew away. Something that I just totally forgot to say, but I'm actually a freak of memes, and my team knows this very well, because there is not an email that I send that doesn't have a meme. And so I took that opportunity to also give you a laugh moment or a moment of joy in the Padlet, trying to connect to the topics or the questions that you have. So I hope you enjoyed that little present or moment of laugh. So yeah, I would like to hear some feedback from each group. So please, who would like to kick off first?
I can go with group 1 if you like.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay, so in our group, we were examining the question about supporting reading development in the continuous provision. And we talked a little bit, it was kind of like a divergent conversation, but we spoke about obviously having books available for free access so that children can read them. And then we also mentioned how, you know, it goes beyond books. So we're thinking about what other print we have in the environment that is encouraging children to read or make attempts at reading. And we were speaking about the impact that having parents come in and read, not only in English, but in their home languages has, and also older children from the school coming down, so that they can read books to the children, but also that the young children can read books to them, so that they have a feeling and a sense that they're an author and a reader themselves. We spoke a little bit about I've got mind buzz now, audiobooks, being available, and how we can use technology as well. So how you can have children reading books, reading pictures. We talked about the importance of that, and how they can record themselves reading books, and that those can be shared in the continuous provision. So that's our group, and we had some good note taking. So if I've missed something, you can follow it up in the Padlet.
Oh, thank you
Thanks,
so much. Actually, maybe Luis, we were in group 4, but we had the same question. So maybe Luis wants to add something to that.
Yeah, sure. So we also talked about the importance of obviously having books readily available for that reading for pleasure, but also they're kind of using it for purpose. So having books in the construction area or related to trains that they might read again and again with an adult at different times, but then they start reading to their friends and they're learning what that caption says. So they're now seeing themselves as a reader. We also talked about, Rose was mentioning that in her role play area, the children are creating their own captions and things and their own labels, and how important it is to have that as a text-rich environment. Having clipboards that, you know, if they are a doctor saying, you know, your operations, this is what you do in order, and, you know, use a stethoscope to check the heartbeat, and they're reading that label because they've got a little picture of a stethoscope. They might not be able to read the phonetics of the word stethoscope, but they're reading the word based on the picture, and having those prompts there helps them see themselves as capable, even though they are big words. We don't need to shy away from those. We also kind of talked about those reading habits for the children seeing themselves as readers. It doesn't need to be about them necessarily reading the words, but them holding up a book and reading it to a peer and saying the same story they've heard again. And sometimes they might know those repeated refrains from memory. Sometimes they might be kind of making up their own story a little bit. But the fact that they're practicing and rehearsing being a reader, it doesn't always need to be related to specifically reading the words.
Thank you so much, Luis. It was nice to have that chat together in the group. What about rooms 2 and 3?
I said that I would speak back for room 2. And now I've forgotten a lot of what we said, but no.
You do have notes, right?
Yes, we do. In fact, Sasha took notes, and I think we might be, those are all our notes, right, Sasha? Because there is no group 5, I think. But it was really a great conversation about the celebration of story that we invite the children into in so many different ways to almost lure them into wanting to be part of it themselves. We talked about using technology, where children could access stories as they heard it. They could see the pictures or the text themselves, acting it out, taking it away from maybe just the read aloud, or what else did we do? We talked about almost, I'm using my phrase of owning a book. Rosemary talked about a story that her class almost adopted, that they read again and again and saw a lot of their classroom activities through the lens of that book. Anything else I'm forgetting here?
What I really like was the idea of getting into role play after reading a book. For example, reading a pirate story and then playing pirates makes you connect even better.
And I think somebody mentioned in the last question about wordless books, so that they could, they understand the idea of telling a story that goes with the picture. Yeah. It was a nice conversation.
Cool, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much. And I'm also looking at all the comments you wrote in the Padlet. That's great. Again, everybody can see that. So grab all that information from our colleagues and keep it in mind for in the future. Group 4, sorry.
3.
3, yes. Go on, Tammy, do you want to share something with us?
If my group is okay with it, I'll just repeat what we said. We actually talk about the multilingual reading and the the amazing Mother Tongue Week that we're doing in our kindergarten, where we invite parents to read the same book in a different language, and looking at the expressions and the reactions of children when they see languages that are completely not familiar to them, or they find something that is in common with their own language and similarities, that they connect, that some languages come from the same families of languages, and that we actually also use parents as a resource, because that is really important. It shows kids are proud when parents come and share, and the kids feel proud of having parent in the room and bringing books in different alphabets and different languages. It's something very amazing for them to be familiar and to learn about the multilingual aspect of reading.
Oh, thank you so much, Tamara. Thank you. That was really great. So I think this was a great opportunity for you all to connect. I just realized I probably did a big mistake at some point, but it's fine. I'm looking at the questions and I'm like, maybe my group wasn't supposed to be doing a certain question, but it's fine. We moved along very well. So I'm just gonna share the presentation again because I just realized I wasn't anymore. And here we are. So we have about 6 minutes left, which is perfect timing. And what comes next? What is after this? First of all, Padlet, keep the link, use those resources, search for those books, connect with the people that are here that you were in the breakout rooms with. If you heard something interesting from them, maybe ask them for their email. If you want to share your emails in the chat, feel free to do so, and then people can connect and share opportunities. This is a QR code. It's not for the Padlet. It's actually for another link that we have, the SIG group, that we use to gather ideas from you. What do you want to learn more of? So if you scan this QR code, you can go and write down your thoughts. What is, as an educator, what is that you would like to know more of? What is something that we can publish more on our social media? What is something that you want to discover more about, or connect more about, or present about? So any of your ideas and needs, please share them here, and we're happy to get them and then work on it, because everything that we do comes from you. So please give us ideas, give us thoughts, and motivation to carry on. There is going to be the next webinar on the 28th of March, and Lindsay is going to be leading that one. It's called A Spotlight on Elevating Emergent Writing. So I hope to see you guys there as well. We will be sharing the information about it anyways on our social media and talking about it. These are all the places where you can find us. You can find us on the website, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We're really trying to stay up to date. We're really trying to stay connected. So follow us. Abby is going to write it in the chat and share all the links in the chat, so you have access to all of them. And obviously, if you want to know all the events from our ECIS Early Childhood Committee, there is also our website that you can look at and follow all our events, and obviously who we are and what do we do. And to end up with, I just want to ask if anyone has a last question before we close. I'm happy to answer to some questions or to share some more ideas. Nope. Okay. So I would like to thank you very much, all of you, for being here. No matter what the time is, no matter what the day looks like, for you. I'm pretty sure you all had 1,000 things to do. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here and for joining with your very important ideas and thoughts. And I'm really looking forward to keep connecting with you. So I wish you all a nice rest of the day, evening, or night for some. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you, Faye.